Hi, I am DM Gallibond, and this is Last Week at the Table for Tuesday, March 17th, 2020. It goes without saying that this is a really strange time outside of D&D, and so I'm trying to keep my D&D games going as much as possible without interruption. But we will see how that goes in the weeks coming ahead. In this show, I like to recap what happened in my Thursday night game, The Dragon of Icespire Peak, and in my Sunday game, The Walker of Waterdeep. So let's get on with the show. Now on Thursday, we finished up uh, with the trip that the party was taking out to the Mountain Toe Mine. They defeated the were rats because that's what it was that they discovered that they were fighting. They defeated a bunch of were rats and they found another were rat that had been tied up. This one said that she was the sister of the leader of the were rat gang, call themselves the Whisper Gang or the Whiskered Gang, and she claimed that they had been driven out of a shrine where they had lived for many generations by a bunch of orcs. And as the orcs drove them out, they yelled that they were screaming in their battle cries that they had been driven out of their lair by a dragon. The were-rats didn't really believe that much at the time, but they were overwhelmed by the number of orcs, so they had to go and find another place, and they, in turn, killed a number of the miners, and they trapped several more of them in the caves of the mine, and were planning to just let them starve to death. Now, this one that they had tied up was not in agreement with her sister, did not think they should be taking out, just because they had been driven out of their home by the orcs, did not think they should turn around and drive out somebody from the place where they live and work. But the sister was having none of it. And so that's what happened. In terms of the actual dice rolling of the session, we didn't have a whole lot of that because there was a lot of interaction uh, with that captive, figuring out the story of the were-rats, finding the captive miners, setting them free, and then after a rest, making their way back to the town of Phandalin. Now, they decided that this one surviving were-rat, they decided they were going to take her with them, and they were going to eventually send her out to Big Al's farm, the Butterskull Ranch, because they said that he needed help and he was starting to get a reputation for sort of taking in the lost strays that had been displaced by the dragon. They eventually told her that two of the people working with him now were in fact orcs, and she kind of balked at that, but she also realized she couldn't stay in a town like Phandalin because the first time anybody got to whiff of the fact that she was a were-rat, um, they would try to string her up or kill her, or at the very least drive her off. So she thought if there was a place she could go and make a life for herself, that would be it. So they got back to town, they set all that up, and then they made their preparations to go to the logging camp. But they decided to spend so much time in town shopping that we really didn't even ever get a chance to leave town and start on a trip to the logging camp. Now, there is one thing they discovered during the time. They discovered that there is um, a burial mound on the way to the logging camp, and there was an ancient hero that is buried there, and she was part of a group that killed a green dragon centuries ago. And it is said that her magic sword is buried with her. So when they start the session next time, they are going to head to the logging camp, but on the way they're going to stop by this burial mound and see if they can find that magic sword. And of course, nothing bad is going to happen when you disturb the grave of an ancient warrior. Of course, everything will be fine. So we'll see how that all goes. All right, and if you want to find out what happens there, you can tune in on Thursday nights on my Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/Gallibond at 8 p.m. Eastern. There's no sports to watch, and you'll be having to stay in anyway, so you might as well turn over to Twitch and join us while we play some D&D. All right, then on Sunday afternoons at 2:30, it's the Walker of Waterdeep. And in the Walker of Waterdeep, the party is in Ravnica. They have had a couple of adventures around Ravnica, but they are ostensibly they are diplomats from Toril, and as such, the uh, the guilds all want to meet with them, and there are 8 of the guilds that have representatives in New Prov, which is the government complex over there, and so they are arranging 3 guilds each day are having interviews with the party and talking to them a little bit about what their guild is all about, and trying to do the hard sell to say, hey, you guys really want to be part of our guild, don't you? Um, and finding out a little bit about the party, and what a little bit about the potential for trade and diplomatic relations between Ravnica and Toril. So in the session on Sunday, they met with 3 guilds, and the 3 guilds they met with were the Azorius Senate, the Golgari Swarm, and the Izzet League. And so Adamant is kind of all hot to trot to go join the Izzet League, even though he's a Warforged and he's not excitable in the same way that gnomes and goblins are. He really has an affinity for the tinkering and experimentation that the gnomes and goblins do, and so he's very much drawn to the Izzet League as a guild. Now, the rest of the party is a little bit uncertain about where they want to go. There's one person who has their mind pretty well made up, but he's holding that kind of close to his vest, so I'm not gonna spill the beans too much for his sake. The as far as the Azoria Senate goes, the party just sees them as bureaucratic and kind of corrupt, and they really don't want to have anything to do with them. And the Golgari Swarm they found were interesting until they realized that the Guildmaster is actually a lich, and that the first Guildmaster was a lich. Now, There's a couple of members of the party that one who is a cleric, one who is a holy warrior now. And so the idea of going in league with anyone that's led by a lich, that just is a little too, too far for them to reach. The Is It League, like I said, Adamant is very interested in them. And at the end of the session, they did start an interview with the Boros Legion. And the Boros Legion recruiter, if you will, or envoy that they are meeting with, dropped a bit of a bombshell at the end, which didn't quite have the effect he hoped that it would with this party. And he revealed that the Boros Legion is actually was founded by an angel and is led by angels. And so he was hoping that that can appeal to the more religious and pious within the group. So we'll see how that goes. He has to do his whole sales pitch next time, and then they will meet a few other guilds as well when we next catch up with our heroes. So that game happens on Sundays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, if you don't have anything to watch with sports and you're cooped up, you might as well turn on Twitch, come over and watch us, and have some fun with us while we play D&D. All right, that is going to wrap up the episode for this week. Once again, I have been DM Gallibond, and this has been Last Week from the Table for St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. It kind of goes without saying, but everybody please, please, please stay safe. These uncertain times, listen to your local health officials, follow what they say you should be doing in your area. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones. I feel like they have coined an inexact term with this whole social distancing. You really don't need to worry about social distancing. What you need to worry about is physical distancing. Please make use of all of the tools that you may have available. Your smartphone with your FaceTime or your video chat, your Discord, your Skype, all of the other things to keep in touch with family and loved ones and friends, even if you cannot physically be in the same space with them in the way that you normally would be. So don't be socially distant, but do maintain a safe physical distance until this all passes. Anyway, and when you do play D&D, I always advise that you should make your games memorable so that you will have tales that you can tell from your table. Good night, everyone.